Hello everyone. Today's topic of discussion is skin and nutrition, which is quite known to you that you should know about the nutritional effect of the food items you consume or you don't consume on your skin. Okay, so starting with nutritional factors play an healthy role in skin health and diseases. Okay. Nutritional deficiency cause alteration in cutaneous homeostasis. As you know, what is homeostasis? It is a balance. There is also a cutaneous homeostasis. Vitamins, mineral deficiency, and excess nutrition may play an important role in number of dermatological conditions, which are we going to discuss further. And obviously, there is a well-known connection between nutrition and chronic dermatological diseases. To start with, we'll be discussing important vitamins which have a dermatological effect on our skin. Okay. What are vitamins? Vitamins are organic compounds that are biologically active and indispensable for normal physiological function. They also act as a coenzyme or cofactors for various cellular metabolic processes, which are essential for functioning and growth of tissues. Based on solubility, vitamin can be classified as fat soluble vitamin that are A, D, E, and K, and water soluble vitamin that is vitamin B and vitamin C. Start with vitamin A discussion. Vitamin A is important for vision, hematopoiesis, embryonic development, skin cell differentiation, immune system function, and gene transcription. Vitamin A is present in two forms, that is retinal and retinoic acid. The plant sources are dark green leafy vegetables, palm oil, and brightly colored fruits such as papaya, mango, carrots, tomatoes, and apricots. The retinol is reduced to retinal in the intestinal villi. In animal sources, vitamin A exists as retinal esters, which are then hydrolyzed to retinol in the intestinal lumen. The vitamin A deficiency is associated with immune regulation and disorders of keratinization. Here we'll be seeing the vitamin A deficiency in three broad headings, that is general, which can be growth retardation, mental retardation, apathy, and infection. Concerning to us, cutaneous and mucous membrane, xerosis and scaling, that is dryness, dermatomalacia is deep fissuring of the skin, xerostomia, hyposmia, hypogeusia, phaneroderma, of which pictures can be seen, where skin is like a toad skin, where here you can see the sorry here you can see the picture of the toad and the skin resembling that. Here you can see the small keratotic follicles or papules present over the knees. Usually they can be present over elbows, knees, back. Okay. And then again the lastly ocular manifestations of vitamin A deficiency, that is nactalophobia, xerophthalmia, which is commonly nactalopia, which is commonly known as night blindness, which you must be knowing, Bittert spots, corneal xerosis, ulceration, keratomalacia, corneal perforation, and ultimately prolapse of iris, and which causes the blindness. Treatment is we have to supplement vitamin A. The dietary allowance is 1000 to 5000 international unit. For treatment doses 50,000 to 2 lakhs depending on the age until serum level normalizes. There is a vitamin A supplementation program going on. Uh, in the national immunization program, we always prescribe vitamin A starting from 9 months of the age. If the which is 2 lakh international units every 6 months. But if patient is less than 9 months or more than 6 months but less than 9 months, we can start with 1 lakh international units of vitamin A. Then again, if there is a deficiency, there can be toxicity. Vitamin A toxicity occurs at a dosage 20 times more than RDA in children or 100 times the RDA in adult. In adult, the manifestations may be cheilitis, gingivitis, carotenemia, and follicular hyperkeratosis, fractures and osteoporosis or teratogenicity. The only vitamin which is teratogenic is vitamin A. In children, chronic toxicity presents as coarse hair with diffuse alopecia, coarse skin with generalized exfoliation, hyperpigmentation, and exfoliative cheilitis. Infants may have bulging fontanelle when they are presenting with vitamin A toxicity. Vitamin A deficiency can be due to occurs from poor dietary intake and from early weaning from breast milk. Secondary deficiency from malabsorption of lipids and zinc, which is necessary for vitamin A uptake. Can also present as growth retardation due to premature closure of epiphysis and spontaneous bone fracture. Discussing to moving forward with vitamin E, it is also known as tocopherol, commonly alpha tocopherol. Sources are vegetable oil, seeds, and nuts. The active form in human, as already told, is alpha tocopherol. It mainly functions as membrane preserving antioxidant. That is the main function of vitamin E. Additional action includes immune modulation. It also inhibits platelet aggregations and vasodilation. But main action for which we are using vitamin in our day-to-day life is for its antioxidant action. RD of oral vitamin E is 15 mg per day with upper limit of 1000 mg per day. Vitamin E is commonly used supplements taken daily as 400 international units of alpha tocopherol. In dermatological uses of vitamin E, systemic vitamin E can be used in melasma, yellow nail syndrome, epidermolysis bullosa, cancer prevention, claudication, cutaneous ulcers, wound healing, and atopic dermatitis. Topical vitamin A, which it has an emollient effect to enhance barrier function and to prevent scar formation. Then toxicity or adverse effect of vitamin E is when there is a concomitant use with anticoagulant, it can increase the risk of bleeding complication. Excess intake can result in thrombophlebitis, pulmonary embolism, hypertension, fatigue, gastrointestinal effects, and gynecomastia. The dermatological manifestations are cheilitis, stomatitis, impaired wound healing, and urticaria. Moving towards vitamin B12, also known as riboflavin, it plays an important role in carbohydrate metabolism, amino acid metabolism, and pyridoxine metabolism. Sources are nuts, meat, eggs, whole grain, enriched bread products, green leafy vegetables. Deficiency can caused by inadequate intake, malabsorption, phototherapy. Clinical findings are erythema, epidermonecrolysis, and mucositis. Cutaneous manifestations include papillosquamous lesions, ulcers, indolent fissures, and seborrheic dermatitis-like changes in periorificial sites. RDA is 0.6 mg per 1000 kilocalorie. Sorry. Treatment for deficiencies are for infants and children, one is 1 to 3 mg per day, and for adults 10 to 30 mg per day. Moving to vitamin B3 or niacin, it can be obtained from diet or synthesized endogenously from essential amino acid tryptophan. You have to remember this. It can be obtained from diet or synthesized endogenously from essential amino acid, that is tryptophan. 60 mg of tryptophan is converted to 1 mg of niacin. Nicotinamide adenylene dinucleotide, as you popularly know, NAD and NADP, are active forms of niacin. The RDA is 15 to 20 mg depending on the age and sex. Sources are whole grain, bread product, nuts, dairy product, liver, animal product, meat, mushroom, beans, and deficiency can lead to pellagra, which we'll be discussing in detail. Uh, what is pellagra? Pellagra is derived from Italian word pelle, which meaning the skin, and agra, meaning rough, in reference to thick and rough skin. It was first described by Gaspar Castle in 1735 in poor peasants of northern Spain and referred to them as mal de la rosa because of red glossy rash on dorsum of hands and feet. It is endemic in South Africa, China, and India, where corn, maize, and jar are dietary mainstay because these millets contain a bound niacin which is unavailable for absorption without alkaline hydrolysis. Moving to the causes of pellagra, due to inadequate intake or niacin tryptophan, that is primary cause. Uh, Secondary occurs when adequate quantities of niacin are present in diet, but other conditions interfere with intake, such as absorption and processing. So, looking to the secondary causes, Uh, the conditions which interfere with insects absorption and processing, such as chronic diarrhea, anorexia nervosa, chronic alcoholism, which is also a main cause of pellagra, chronic colitis, severe ulcerative colitis, regional ileitis, hepatic cirrhosis, carcinoid tumor, Hartnup syndrome, and intestinal tuberculosis. And certain drugs like isoniazid, pyrazinamide, azathioprine, 6-mercaptopurine, and 5-fluorouracil, sulfonamide, anticonvulsant, and antidepressant can also lead to the decreased absorption of niacin and causing pellagra, and even it can be seen in HIV patients. In clinical feature, it is classically described by 4 Ds, that is diarrhea, dermatitis, dementia, and death. GIT symptoms can be, which it can be the earliest sign of pellagra. This include poor appetite, nausea, vomiting, epigastric discomfort, abdominal pain, increased salivation, malabsorption, diarrhea, gastritis, low levels of duodenal enzymes, and chlorhydria. Then dermatological manifestations. It is characterized as photosensitive dermatitis, which begins as erythematous, painful, or pruritic lesion. The skin becomes progressively more edematous and several days later may develop vesicles and bullous, which are also known as pemphigus pellagrosus, that ruptures, leaving crusted erosions or develop into brown scales. Dorsum of the hands are most commonly involved part. Uh, Gauntlet of pellagra, which means the when rashes extends proximally more in radial and ulnar side. Here you can see the picture showing the typical lesions of pellagra. Here the involved sites can be seen. Okay, then effects on mucous membrane. Mucous membrane involvement may manifest as chylitis, annular stomatitis, glossitis, and ulceration of buccal mucosa and vulva. Neurological manifestations are insomnia, fatigue, nervousness, apathy, impaired memory, and depression. Can progress to psychosis and dementia in later stages. Myelitis, peripheral neuritis, incoordination, and tremors may be seen. Deep renal reflexes are exaggerated in almost all patients. Treatment, it is nicotinamide in adults, nicotinamide 100 mg orally every 6 hours till resolution of major symptoms, which is to be followed by oral administration of 50 mg every 8 to 12 hours until all skin lesions heal. Children, there is 10 to 50 mg orally every 6 hours until resolutions of signs and symptoms. Therapy should also include other B vitamins, zinc, and magnesium, as well as diet rich in proteins and calories. The diagnosis of pellagra is primarily established by clinical features and rapid response to niacin or nicotinamide supplementations. Moving forward, other uses of niacin in dermatology, it can be used for acne, antihyperlipidemic agent, necrobiosis lipoidica, dermatitis herpetiformis, bullous pemphigoid, peripheral vascular disorders such as Raynaud syndrome and HIV. Moving forward to vitamin B9, also known as folate, it plays an important role in single carbon transfer in amino acid, purine, and pyrimidine metabolism. Found in almost all food, the recommended daily intake varies with age, ranging from 65 to 600 microgram. Deficiency, it can be due to inadequate diet, malabsorption, antifolate medications such as methotrexate, trimethoprim, oral contraceptives, pyrimethamine, and antiepileptic. The clinical features are most commonly hematological macrocytosis, megaloblastic anemia, and hypersegmented neutrophil, neutropenia, and thrombocytopenia. Most commonly, if you are asked about vitamin B12 deficiency, you have to remember these most hematological symptoms, that is macrocytosis, megaloblastic anemia, and hypersegmented neutrophils. Mucocutaneous includes Hunter's glossitis, that is red and painful tongue with atrophy of filiform papillae, angular cheilitis, diffuse or focal hair depigmentation, and mucocutaneous hyperpigmentation. The cutaneous hyperpigmentation can be diffuse and symmetric, resembling Addison's disease or may be localized. The commonly affected sites are hand, nails, face, palmar creases, flexural lesions, and pressure points. Lab testings are macrocytic and megaloblastic anemia with hypersegmentation of neutrophil is suggestive of folate deficiency, as we discussed earlier. Then moving to the treatment part, first we have to rule out vitamin B12 deficiency. Then after, discontinue or dose reduction of antifolate drugs, and we have to supplement folic acid in a dose of 1 to 5 mg per day. Then moving to vitamin B12, also known as cobalamin. Vitamin B12 has a key role in normal functioning of brain and nervous system and then formation of blood. That is the main roles of vitamin B12, brain and nervous system and formation of blood. The active form are cyanocobalamin, adenosylcobalamin and methylcobalamin. It is an important coenzyme for methyl transferase deficiencies due to inadequate intake or malabsorption. Malabsorption can be due to four causes, that is decreased gastric acid states, decreased intrinsic factor which is necessary for absorption of vitamin B12, microbial competition in gut and impaired absorption. Microbial competition in gut can be mostly seen after an heavy antibiotic course as well. In clinical features include there is a triad of vitamin B12 deficiency which consists of megaloblastic anemia, glossitis and neuropsychiatric symptoms. Hunter's glossitis or Moller's Hunter, which we have already discussed, is the most classic form. Other oral manifestations are glossodynia, recurrent ulcers, lingual paresthesia, burning, pruritus, dysgeusia, intolerance to dental prosthesis, xerostomia, stomatitis, and chylitis. Cutaneous findings are uncommon, but generalized hyperpigmentation with accentuation in flexural areas and the palms, soles, nails, and oral cavity can be seen. Scoliosis, vitiligo, and alopecia areata occur with increased frequency in patients with pernicious anemia. Here you can see the pigmentation over the knuckle area, which highly suggests your vitamin B12 deficiency. Laboratory testing, the deficiency can be serum cobalamin level less than 200 picogram per ml. Borderline low is 200 to 300 picogram per ml. Treatment is 1000 microgram of vitamin B12 per week intramuscularly for 1 month and then 1000 microgram per month thereafter. Moving to the vitamin C, it is also a main antioxidant. Before this, we have seen vitamin E as an antioxidant. Vitamin C is also a major antioxidant in our diet. It is also a cofactor in collagen synthesis, prostaglandin metabolism, norepinephrine synthesis, increased absorption of iron from small intestine. Deficiency of vitamin C causes scurvy. The causes of deficiency are insufficient intake, aspirin, indomethacin, tetracycline, which alters the absorption of vitamin C or its metabolism, peritoneal and hemodialysis, alcoholism, and gastrointestinal diseases. There is no endogenous synthesis due to lack of gluconolactone oxidase enzyme. So we can't synthesize vitamin C. Oral changes are most prominent in those with poor dentition. Gums are swollen, shiny red, friable, bleeding, letter which becomes black and necrotic, and there is a loosening of teeth. Gingival findings are most striking in the intradental and marginal gingiva. Musculoskeletal manifestations are intra-articular, subperiosteal, intramuscular hemorrhages, which leads to pain, disruption of growth plate, and bowing of long bones. Perifollicular and purpura hard palate. Here you can see the perifollicular purpura and purpura hard palate, corkscrew hair, and gingival bleeding gums. Then treatment for which is 100 to 300 mg supplementation of vitamin C per day. Moving to the zinc, zinc is a trace element, which is very important element for the dermatological functions as well as other body functions. It is a catalytic, structural, and regulatory function and is required approximately by 300 enzymes, which are contributing to growth development, wound healing, immune function, and collagen synthesis. Approximately 10 to 30% of dietary zinc is absorbed in small intestine using a transcellular zinc specific transporter ZIP4. The deficiency of zinc can be acquired or genetic. Acquired deficiency is more common when compared to genetic deficiency. Diet high in cereal grains and low in meats predisposes individuals to zinc deficiency. Then talking about the major zinc deficiency disease, that is Ectodermatitis enteropathica. It is an autosomal recessive associated with defective zinc absorption in small intestine. The causative mutation has been identified as SLC39A4 on chromosome 8q24.3, which encodes for ZIP4, which is a transporter protein on the enterocytes. It manifests soon after weaning in breastfeed or between 4th and 10th week of life in formula fed infants. Clinical triad consists of diarrhea, alopecia, and periorificial and acral dermatitis. Hair can be dry and brittle with areas of alopecia and may show alternate dark and light bands on polarized light microscopy. Zinc uh, uh, sorry. The eruption begins as symmetric eczematous lesion that progresses into vesicular bullous, pustular, and erosive plaques with a characteristic crusted border. The periorificial finding classically shows relative sparing of upper lip, giving the eruption so-called horseshoe-shaped or U-shaped configurations. Here you can see typical periorificial involvement. Here you can see the eczematous lesions which are around orifices in a child. The other features of acrodermatitis enteropathica or zinc deficiency are delayed wound healing, paronychia, stomatitis, photophobia, blepharitis, conjunctivitis, irritability, and emotional liability. Infants are described as listless and apathic. There can be retardation and hypogonadism in male patients, and dysgeusia, abnormal dark adaptation, psoriasiform dermatitis may be present on hands and feet. Laboratory test to be done at there is normal reference range of 70 to 250 mg per dl. Level between 40 to 60 mg per dl suggestive of mild deficiency, below which you can suggest of severe deficiency. Treatment again includes zinc replacement therapy, which should be started at 3 mg per kg per day of elemental zinc, that is 50 mg of elemental zinc per 220 mg of zinc sulfate in acrodermatitis enteropathica. In acquired zinc deficiency disorder, doses of elemental zinc should be zero point 0.5 to 1 mg per kg per day in children and 15 to 30 mg per day in adults. Other uses of zinc are zinc can be used in acne vulgaris as oral and topical formulation, apathous ulcer or mucositis as oral, diaper dermatitis as topical formulation, eczema as topical formulation, seborrheic dermatitis or commonly known as dandruff as a topical formulation, androgenetic alopecia, then viral warts, leprosy, rosacea. Here you can use both oral and topical formulations. Cutaneous ulcers, topical formulations. Folliculitis declavans orally can be given. And necrolytic acral erythema. Moving to the last element to be discussed and the other important element, that is copper. It is also an essential trace element requiring number of enzymatic processes like production of melanin, collagen and elastin. It also helps in wound healing. We have seen vitamin C also helps in wound healing, zinc also helps in wound healing, and copper also helps in wound healing. The recommended dietary allowances is 300 microgram per day for young children and 900 microgram per day for adults. Acquired copper deficiency is rare. Protein energy malnutrition and excess zinc intake are key causes as zinc inhibit the absorption of copper in intestine. Then discussing about the Menkes disease, which is again an X-linked recessive condition which occurs due to defective copper absorption with low levels of copper in blood, liver and hair. Clinical features are failure to thrive, lethargy, hypothermia, hypotonia, seizures, mental retardation, and anemia. The most important dermatological sign is structural abnormalities of hair, as hair appears to be light in color, sparse, fragile, and kinky, and prognosis is very poor. Again, discussing about the copper toxicity, it may be acquired and inherited. The inherited form is Wilson's disease, which is also an autosomal recessive disorder. There is accumulation of copper in internal organs like liver, cornea, and brain. The clinical hallmarks are liver diseases, Kaiser Fleischer corneal rings, also known as KF rings, and neurological symptoms. Treatment are chelating agents like penicillamine, and for asymptomatic patients or for maintenance therapy, oral zinc can be prescribed. As earlier told, zinc inhibits the absorption of copper in intestine. Then moving to the last slide and the last part to be discussed. There is dietary restriction to be followed in some dermatological conditions, like if patient is suffering from dermatitis herpetiformis, we have to ask the patient to stop consuming wheat, rye, oats, barley, milk product, fish, kelp, iodized salts, and vitamin. And in atopic dermatitis, also we have to ask the patient to stop wheat, milk, soya, fish, eggs, and peanut. There is a long list of the ingredients for pemphigus, like garlic, onion, mustard, turnip, radish, cabbage, cauliflower, tomato, ginger, mango, pistachio, avocado, cherry, cashews, banana, coffee, tea being the most important, betel nut, leaf, katha, beer, wine, soft drink, ice creams, candies. For psoriasis, we have to ask patient to avoid high calorie diet, alcohol, and gluten, as there is already a pressure over liver in psoriatic patients. For acne, you have to advise the avoidance of high glycemic load like carbohydrate, fat, sugar, fast food, as the insulin like growth factor is also implicated in causation of acne. And for rosacea, avoidance is to be asked for tea, coffee, hot beverages, tobacco, alcohol, and spicy foods, as this aggravate the rosaceous lesions. So that's all for discussion about the nutrition and skin. Thank you so much.